Welcome. Time to check the game notes. Special edition Winter Classic preview. We're all here in studio in Chicago at the Barstool office. Of course, the Arm Dog, we finally tracked him down in one of these NHL cities. So we know where he is this time. And we had big plans to do an entire Winter Classic preview. We have Barstool's chief here from Chicago Barstool, Dog Walk, Pitch Picks. The only Nottingham fan outside of England. It's the only team you actually like that's good.
It's the only team that it's my only joy in life is Nottingham Forest.
Yeah. So
every other team you have sucks.
I'm like ready to quit sports. Like I'm going to be done watching sports by 11 a.m. every day from now on.
Except for the Winter Classic.
Yeah,
and that's why we have you on, because we wanted to really get into it. But then last night, Team Canada in the World Juniors loses to Team Latvia. Absolute disaster. So we need to have a Canada Hockey Summit, and we brought in a heavy hitter, Reid Simpson, Director of European Scouting for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yep.
But this guy goes way back from Flin Flom, played 301 NHL games, 838 PIMs, bunch of different teams. I love it that it says the North Stars on there, because that's just a team a lot of kids don't even know about anymore. And, we got to break this down. What happened last night?
Well, yeah, Simmer, first of all, welcome. Chief, welcome.
Thanks,
it's
man.
nice of you to open up the pod room for us here at this unbelievable studio here in Chicago. Fly in last night. Latvia, Canada, ho-hum, should have been a tap-in. Never lost to them at World Juniors before. Getting ready. I'm the king of the Winter Classic. Simmer, I don't know if you're sure of this, if you know this. First ever Winter Classic, first ever goal, fastest goal, 21 seconds, the king of the Winter Classic. I see Singsy in the chat saying I better come on in a crown. It's still being made. But we are here and we're loving it. And it's great to be in Chicago for this event. Oh, you want me to get the, I'll get this. And this is all brought to you by DraftKings. The Winter Classic is back in the Windy City, and our partners at DraftKings are bringing the heat to hockey fans who bet just $5. They'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using my promo code CLASSIC. King of the Winter Classic. I like that. Follow all your favorite Barstool personalities, picks in the Barstool betting group on DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code CLASSIC and bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. The promo code CLASSIC only at DraftKings Sportsbook. We'll be at the DraftKings Sportsbook Wrigley tonight, 6 to 8. Maybe do we have a little graphic for that?
Well, I'm a little worried.
There you go.
This could be the last ad they ever buy with us, because the amount of damage I'm going to do on them tonight over there.
The crown is yours, Merles.
I got a thick
Have
wallet
you
I
guys
brought
been
in.
there before.
I've
been outside.
It's awesome.
I've been
they
outside.
got some nice stuff over there.
It's
don't they?
great.
Yeah.
Sit that upper level, you just see everything. It's incredible. Food's
So-
pretty good. It's a great spot.
Look at that. Look at the crowd. You see a Biz, Wit. Is that Keith Yandel I even saw up there? Yan's making the voyage in. What a crew that is. Some deep pockets there. We're going to be betting, talking, drinking some Pink Whitney, I hope. And it's going to be a big night. So see you over there.
So, yes, we'll see you there. Maybe we can trick these two guys to come as well. I know Simmer's busy. He was in Rockford last night watching a game. He's been in Russia, obviously working over there. Just got back from there last time I talked to you. Working for the Flyers, seeing draft picks, seeing kids at your level, prospects, I'm sure a little bit as well. This takes me to the World Juniors, one of the best tournaments around. I love it over the holiday season. But hockey right now, what are you seeing before I get into it? What are you seeing in the game as a scout being at this level for players now? Like, obviously it's a big change from when you and I played together in Wilkes-Barre years ago, where you were fighting 3 times a game.
Once in a while.
with the Hawks, with those killer teams you guys had. But like, what was it? What are you noticing now with the players? I feel like every player is the same.
Yeah, there's definitely the creativity's gone from games where guys are using each other in the way that they were back in the day. I think what's happened is it's kind of got a little robotic at times, where players are just like, they think fast is good. They think if you can execute skills, that you're good. But the head game has really gone from a lot of the younger players, and they get to into the pro level, and I just see a lot of guys there where there's overlap. Everybody's the same kind of player, and if you can set yourself apart in one way or another, whether it's be a really good checker or have real detail to your game, you can move up really quick. And if you want to, take it for example, if you want to be physical, you're the first guy noticed every night. There's 15, 20 scouts at every game.
That's crazy.
And there's just nobody watches, nobody wants to be physical. And you could have a job at the NHL level if you've got American Hockey League, just average talent, but you want to hit.
Yeah, because they're scrounging the earth. You're scrounging the earth for players that want to play like that. Yes. Is it fair to say some of those countries, and I know it just brings back to Canada as well, have caught up in regards to skill and the emphasis on skill, which you need in our game? You need skill.
100%.
But I look at Finland, and I'm like, is Finland more Canadian style hockey than Canada now because of the way we've gone?
For sure it is. I mean, every country kind of has their idea, and I think a lot of it comes back to coaching and what they were teaching 10, 15 years ago.
Yes.
And then how those kids kind of graduate into the next level and become pros. But in the end, the game is still the same. Obviously having speed is great, but you need to be able to win your one-on-one battles. You need to be able to play the system that the rest of the guys are playing. You need to be able to execute plays at the right time and in the game. And you just don't see that as much anymore. You just see guys that are out there just up and down, north, south, flying around, trying to make plays, turning pucks over. And, go back to the days that I started. I think you guys, you realized at the American Hockey League level that if you're going to go play in the NHL, you can't make mistakes.
Yeah,
but it's one mistake after another now when you watch NHL hockey games. And I watch when guys make real big mistakes and you kind of see them on the bench and nobody goes over and says anything.
Acceptable.
Yeah. There's no consequences at all.
Back when I played, if I made a mistake,
you're playing with me in the Wilkes-Barre,
and you're not getting out there. You know what I mean? Like if I made one mistake, like not chipping off the wall and getting it out of I knew going back to the bench, there's a good chance I'm not going to get another shot.
Your 8 minutes went to 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Your period's done. You take a bad penalty or a bad turnover, ends up your period's done. Maybe you'll get another chance in the second or third period.
And I don't want to take the creativity away. I love the creativity. Yeah. I love guys, trying to make plays and snap, but the understanding of when and where to make those plays has gone out the window sometimes.
Is that something you communicate to young players? Be like, hey, if you just hit, you'll be in the National Hockey.
I really wish I could. I wish I could go. I can't tell you how many games I'm at, especially at the American League level, where I want to go down to the dressing room and just have a 5-minute with the whole team and go, guys, none of you are going to get called up by the way you played tonight. Yeah. None of you, and none of you are going to change your game. If you don't change your game, you're not having a chance to play in the NHL. The ones that do are great.
Yeah. And then it's do they not watch? Because what still wins? It's the Whitney quote. The game is still the game. And 100%. It's Florida, Vegas, St. Louis in 19. Yeah. These bully teams. They just run through the Stanley Cup playoffs. And it's if you're I watched everything growing up.
Yeah.
And I feel maybe that's a kid, kids today, they're just not watching and maybe they don't perceive that. It's
I think it's a coaching. I really do. I think it's just the trajectory of where the game has gone. Individual skill coaches, individualized everything, siloed skill work of not teamwork and everything. And I just think that it's going to get worse. I think it's going to just get worse in that regard.
Yeah. So I was going to say, we know in Russia, they had a real big goalie problem. They wasn't getting any goalies. Mm-hmm. And I want to say it was when the KHL started, I was playing over there and they had a big summit. They had a summit about goaltending. No more allowed. The import goalie could only play 50% of the games. You had to get Russian goalies. They flew in all these Finnish goalie coaches to Russia. And now look at it. Every top goalie in NHL is Russia. Finland had the same thing. They were struggling. They had a big seminar and a summit, and they changed everything. All of a sudden, you're getting Rantanen, Heiskanen, Hintz, all these great Finns. Sweden did it. U.S. did it way back in my era when they started the national team program for the 1980 birthdays. Now look what we've done. I feel like Canada hasn't done that big summit. Do they need to do something to change the coaching, to change all that?
Here's what happened. I think they went to the U.S. changed it with their what's it called?
National
Program.
development team.
That program, but they start at grassroots level, like kids, like the skating, the skills work
USA
from their
hockey.
kids, USA hockey, little area games, little area everything, individual skill stuff. They built this whole program out. Then I think Canada was like, we're too dump and chase. We got to go in the way of this. And it slowly transitioned over the years into this. And you've got these like elite individualized players, right? And so then we lose kind of the feel of the emotion in the game. We lose the feel of the players that have, that kind of more team aspect thinking like you're talking about. Yeah. And so I think it starts with the idea or the mentality, like whatever your country's model is going to look like. Canada, for me, and this is my summit to Canada, we need to get our mentality back. We need to get our Canadian hockey mentality back. We were okay with, we're going to skill it up. We're going to outskill you. Everyone's the same as you now. Yeah. Everyone's skilled. Every country can do this. Every kid can do this. The thing that we had that was different was Canadian hockey, and it was a mentality. We would beat you. We would bully you. We would find a way to get the upper hand. And that was part of our identity as a country in hockey. And now I feel like we've gone away from that. And mind you, I'm saying this after one loss in a shootout to Latvia. They're 17, 18, 19-year-old kids.
I get it.
Gold. But this, they probably will. But this is like a thing I'm seeing a trend in the last several years of World Juniors, though. It's like we've lost that touch that we used to have where our emotional well was deeper than any countries for the game of hockey. Yeah. We could dig in way better. We could bully our ways in a game. And I don't know, maybe you got to pull out a VHS player, chuck in some old rock'em sock'ems like the old days. Like I grew up, I grew up watching that stuff. And I know that they are like, oh, this is barbaric. Let's get away from this. But like, it's good to have that because got guys like him flying all over the goddamn earth to find a guy that just wants to like play that way, that they can insert into an NHL lineup like now. Well, and they can't.
And you know what? Like, it's not like, I like what you say about bullying guys and it's a hate to lose like attitude that you have, because I don't see it in a lot of the young guys. Like when I lost, like I was mad, like I was really pissed every night. And if there was someone getting an upper hand on anyone on the ice, you wanted to take that back and you kind of wanted to be a bully sometimes. And hey, too bad if you can't take it. You know what I mean? That's the way that's the way
hockey.
Were. It's hockey. And I think that mentality is not there enough. Yeah. Like I'm not advocating for guys killing each other and hurting each other. But in my day, you wanted to hurt the guy, but you wanted to be better. Like, you
don't even have to go that far back, like in World Juniors to like see those teams that Canada put together that would like, go back to FNUF.
Intimidating.
They were terrifying.
Yeah, especially for these these poor European kids coming over, never seen anything like this. Man, they're shoved into this small rink, this big red Canadian maple leaf. Like you already won the game in warm-ups.
Big red beard usually too. Like they were a terrifying team.
Well, you want the other team to like come in there and be scared. I know the teams that I played against, and we all know it during our time, and I'm sure it is a little bit this way, but you get a big, heavy team that doesn't give you any space. Every time you get the puck, someone's in your face, and it's going to hurt a little bit. There's nothing wrong with it hurting. Like, that's what's hockey about.
So you can't tell me, like, even in the NHL level, like teams come into play, like, for example, Florida Panthers, that before the game, like, they're talked about in the media. They're lunatics. They're in straitjackets. They don't care if there's a puck on the ice. And this is their skilled players too.
Yeah.
This is their skill. Like they've even brought like Barkov into that area.
Yeah.
You look at Oliver Ekman-Larsson in Toronto now. He's a killer. Like he's smashing guys. He's throwing guys down.
Culture.
It's culture, but it's like the identity that you have, and taking it back now to like coming up in hockey. Like I just feel like that's been either talked out of it or beat out of the plan.
Is it officiated out of it?
Hockey.
A little bit
officiated, 100%. Sure. Like the game has changed. I get it. But the mentality can still kind of be the same a little bit. And I think we've lost that in our Canadian hockey. I don't know. Tell me
we need more Ryan Lamborghinis. That's for sure.
Yeah. How do you find a guy like that now?
They're hard to come by. Yeah. That's why he's getting paid a couple $1 million a year.
They're unicorns. Like the thing is, if you're skilled too, like you better be goddamn good.
Yeah.
Because the top 6 lines, those guys are all world. Like it's crazy. And how many guys do we play with in the minors too? Even in our time in Wilkes-Barre, we had good teams. We had good players.
Really good player.
And it's like, can you produce at a rate that is better than this guy or this guy? It's like, what
The
about
answer's
another?
usually no.
Yeah, and what about another edge or an angle that you can have? Can you check?
Yeah.
To your point, can you do
get
this?
Physical?
Can you do that? Can you add something to
Yeah.
it? Like, look at Hyman. Hyman's a great example.
100%,
He doesn't kill people, but he's involved. He gets his nose dirty.
Takes
He gets to
space.
the hard areas. He does the brute work, and he's fine doing that. And he gets to play with like all world talent.
Works his ass off.
He works his ass off, and he does it in a hard kind of way for today's game, and it fits and it works for him. So he's found a way to like push himself in there, and I think everyone wants to be McDavid. Great, we all wish we were like that, right? Or Makar on defense. Everyone wants to be a dancer, but like you got to have some shutdown guys. You got to have the guys that are good at doing certain things. And I think the training in regards to like as you're coming up, and I think it's going to get worse. I think it's going to get worse unless we have a Canadian summit, a real Canadian summit. And we sit down and go, it's okay to be a little bit of a bully.
Yeah.
It's okay to be a little bit mean. This is our mentality. This is our calling card. Canada, we need this back.
We do have a little breaking news here. Canadian defenseman and top 2025 NHL draft prospect Matthew Schaefer will miss the remainder of the World Juniors after being injured on Friday. Huge loss.
I was just going to shut that down and move on to that. I was going to ask you about the injury. You saw it. That is devastating.
Can we call up Mickey DuPont's kid?
Yeah, they get Landon DuPont on a plane immediately to Ottawa.
Yeah, this kid was, he just ran into the net last night. Summer, I don't know if you saw that. It's kind of a crazy play.
I was in Rock Vegas.
He jumped all the way up in the play, driving through the net, and just like ran into the post, kind of like he was like watching the play, and the net kind of snuck up on him. But he's a young kid in the cage. Same with that other kid on the team.
He's rated number 1 or number 2. When we had Chris Peters on last week, I was trying to bet on the DraftKings Sportsbook for Hagens to go number 1 minus 140. He kind of talked me out of it because of Schaefer. He said if the team needs a D, then they'll probably take Schaefer. So that's devastating news.
That's tough for Canada.
Let's move on to something more positive about the World Juniors. Of course, my Swedish team is 2-0, just dummying everyone. Sandin Pellikka was all defenseman, I think, last year's tournament. Definitely on the team. They're dominating, but then the U.S. played a beating. U.S. over Germany 10-4. Chief, you're all over that game. What did you see there?
It was a drubbing. That's like what you would expect Canada to do to Latvia if you guys had your head in the game. But we had our guy, Coach Doug's, be like, this is for Pearl Harbor.
I saw that. Oh, my God.
It's super viral. And it's like that to me is like, I love the World Junior. I love that I like that Kazakhstan's in it. I like that you have some of these other countries, but I like when the big boys pummel them, and I can't wait for that New Year's Eve game. I love the USA Canada rivalry, and it's like I wish you guys were better. I wish it was the rivalry it used to be when I was like 18, 19, 20.
Now that game means even more to Canada.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes that game
could wake them up a little bit.
Yeah, that they need to bounce back, boys. You got this. Bounce back, dig in. Canadian way. We got to get it going, but that makes the New Year's Eve game even that much bigger for Canada. So do we see another monster? We're missing our stud young defenseman, but yeah, I agree. That's going to be an electric game that night too.
Well, that happened to me last year because I went to Gothenburg for the quarterfinals and I was bouncing back between the two rinks and it got so tight and Canada was playing. I'm like, I don't need to go see Canada. They'll win. I'll get to see them play in the semifinals. Nope, never happened. So I still haven't seen Canada play a good game. I expect them to get to the quarterfinals, but I don't see them.
But who knows?
I don't see them.
God they didn't let Russia in the tournament. They would.
Sweden's our top rival now. This top line we have, it's almost unfair that they got to play together all season at BC, and then they're just like
jump right into
this.
Yeah.
So there's something to watch.
Yeah, they got a ton of talent, and this is like I watch it with different eyes as a Blackhawks fan because. Well, it's not actually different. I'd watch it at the same time, like 5-7 years in a row. Let's find the next piece. And like that, they need that Hagens. They need Hagens. They need like another top 6 center who's like
hard to find,
center.
man.
I know.
They're real hard to find.
Yeah.
Hey, so
there's a lot of teams that don't have a top 6 center at all. Like
the Hawks.
At the end, well, I like Bedard at center.
Do you?
Oh yeah, I really like him at center. I'd play him at center. Let him learn his. The defensive zone. Let him learn how to play at the NHL level because he doesn't touch the puck enough when he's playing on wing, and it's very noticeable for me when I watch those games that he thrives when he has the puck.
Yeah, he needs the puck, and he likes playing through the middle.
Yeah,
I wonder if you'd have the puck more as a wing if they had better line mates with him. Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like I played center growing up myself, and I had to switch to playing wing when I got to pro, and I didn't want to touch the puck as much when I got to pro. That was a good thing. But like when you're a superstar like that, and you're not, I saw some games where he was in wing last year and this year, and he's basically standing by his point waiting for
he's got to be flowing.
He's got to get it, and he's got to, like, I know he has his deficiencies a little bit defensively, but a kid like that will figure it out. You just got to keep moving forward with him and learn through the the mistakes.
What do you make of him on the draw? Because I think he's still like at 29-30%.
You could get better at that.
Yeah,
I mean, winning draws is just concentration, and you see guys get better over the years. Even
Sid did it. Sid was horrible his rookie year, and then he focused on it one summer, came back.
You just work on it. Those are the skilled things that you can do.
Yeah, because you're playing against the same guys a lot too. So then you start learning their tendencies and that. And one thing I played center later in my career, I wish I did it sooner, is you don't know how much help the wingers are and the D. Yeah. If these guys aren't playing on their toes and cheating and getting in there to help you, then your percentage is a lot lower. And that's something that a centerman like Patrice Bergeron, I'm sure, is always telling his wingers, you're going this way, you're going that way, get in there and help me. And you respect him. So if you are his winger, you're jumping in there and fighting.
That intensity before, I remember Robbie Fatorik told me this when I was playing in the minors. He's like, Reid, you got to be the first guy to move off of every draw. Like, and if you get body position off the draw, you're going to get the puck like 80-90% of the time, and especially on those ones in the middle when it's just in the feet. If I get body position on a guy, I'm gonna just chip it back to the D and we have the puck.
Yeah, like as a winger, I remember lining up and guys would come line up and it would always be like, you put your stick down, then he would like put his stick over top of your stick, and I'm like, fine. Yeah. I would let him do it because I knew I would just squiggle in, get my feet in front of his feet.
Yeah.
And then I just would leverage his stick up, and 100%. Then I controlled it, and then I just kick it back or quick stick it back.
Yeah.
So it's like all like those kind of little games, but you got to be kind of smart.
You got to be on it. You got to be on it. If you're just standing at the draw, like waiting, if you don't know exactly what you're going to do, like 5 seconds before they drop the puck,
you got to have a plan.
You're in trouble. Yeah.
One of my favorite things would do before the draws is I'd be on the bench and say somebody like Army, I'd be like, Army, I'm going to go ask this guy like Reid Simpson, like a tough guy. Like I'm going to go ask him to fight. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So I would go over in the faceoffs far on the other side of the ice, and I'd line up next to him, and I'd be like, are those new skates? And he'd be like, no, shake his head, no. So then Army and the whole bench is watching me. They think I actually asked them, but so I looked like a tough guy. Yeah, the fake ass. Yeah. Fake tough guy. That was
Zimmer. Before we move on to some other stuff, I know we're getting Bedard NHL stuff. You've been in Russia a lot. You played in Russia. I don't know if you got any stories from those playing days. You played on a crazy team there, didn't you?
Let me say, he was the original guy to go over to Vitesse and turn them into the fighting team that we all know about now. But you were the first one over there, and you started it all.
Culture. We definitely created a culture in Russia. It was, those were good times. It was actually the Super League at the time, and the team that I played for had just come up from the Visha League, the second league, and they wanted to make an impression. The owner of the team was a great guy, and he's like, listen, if we're not going to win on the board, we're going to make these fans happy. And he wanted blood every night. And coincidentally, actually, the other team that had moved up that year from the Visha League was MVD, which is like the police team. So we were going back and forth with them all the time, and it was like a little bit like the Quebec League over there at times, but I'm telling you, it transcended the way they played hockey there. They didn't have rules back then for what you could or couldn't do. Like as far as fights go, they're like, I don't know, you got in a fight, is he kicked out or like what are we doing? Okay, just put him in the penalty box. I mean, there was times where I would go through the whole team and the refs would be standing there like, what do we do right now? They had no idea.
Yeah. And I know what this is like. I've seen you do that.
Some of those videos, if I wish I had them, because I'm proud of them, but kind of not proud of them.
Oh, that Simmer, I used to play with him on a line in Wilkes-Barre. He used to go, Army, next time the goalie covers the puck, just go in there, because I was like a rat. He's like, just go in there and start like ratting guys up and pushing guys. So I'd be like, okay. And then I go in there, he knew the temperature of the game, veteran, played in the NHL and stuff. So I'm like in there ratting guys up. I turn around, Simmer comes in, his helmet's right down on his eyebrows. He's gritting his teeth. He just comes in his gloves, he just grabs a guy, just starts shredding a guy. I'm like, oh my God. And you're like, whoa. I've never seen anger like that. I'm like,
old school CCM helmet with the leather ear loop, so you knew he was tough. He had the old school CCMs that they brought back now.
He had the Modanos on.
Yeah, that was my thing, is like, you never wanted to be the guy looking like you're starting to fight, but you want to end it. It was great. It was I had such a good time that year playing with all you guys in Wilkes-Barre.
And it was awesome. We had a great group. Hey, you fit in so good. You were
was some of the Halloween party we had.
Oh yeah, the All-Star game trip. You took me to South Beach.
Yes, we had a good time.
Rookie party. Were you at our rookie party? Were you there that year or the next year?
I think it might have been the next year. I remember I had that wig in my stall, and
you wore that during your team picture. Simmer ruined our team picture in a big clown wig. No one noticed.
And they ended up having to put it up in the office because it was the only picture they had that actually turned out. And the wig was quite a fro.
Yeah, it was a huge clown fro wig you had on there. It was awesome. Those were the days. In your travels in Russia, scouting now, we don't, obviously Russia, the whole situation, and then now they're not playing in any of these tournaments, right? Yeah. What are you seeing in Russian hockey over the last few years, or development, or their kids? If you put together like a Four Nations Cup team, how good they would be, and how goaltending to star power to skilled. How's the hockey looking over there with what you're seeing?
The skill level's off the charts. There's players there that
why?
I think because what you were talking about earlier with Canadian hockey, like they're like skilled work. They just keep doing it over and over and over again. And the mentality, then come back to the coaching side of it, is like, we got to do this all day long. Like that's what they do. They're
like gymnasts.
Rinse and repeat. And they're really good at the skill level stuff, but they have even less detail to their game as far as, do I make this pass when there's a minute left and throw it into the slot when everyone's crashing in net so they can go down and tie the game up like next, as soon as I turn this puck over. So they don't have that game intelligence, I don't think, as much as as a whole, as a team, and they're not held accountable. You think we're not held accountable here to our mistakes? Over there, it's like, if you make a mistake and it's the wrong play, like no one's telling you anything. They're saying, oh, well, if you just would have scored, we would have won. You know what I mean? Like anything you try is like, wow, that was a good try.
But we're still seeing like massive hits over there. We're still seeing like, some great fights over there. Like the Russians are.
No, the Russian machine is strong right now.
Yeah,
they're the new Canada.
Yeah, they've got some. They've got some.
Well, they love hockey. They love hockey.
Yeah. I mean, and it's your way out there. Like it's still Russia, man.
And so many people. Like there's every kid's playing hockey over there. It's
and then they want him. They want him to. Like that's part of the culture. You go to these games and they got 18,000 seat arenas there now. Everything's brand new, and the tickets are like $15.
Yeah,
they want people to like have something to do, and kids know that if they get good at hockey, that's their next kind of stepping stone, because it's still Russia. It's not like everything's modern, everything's nice. You're in St. Petersburg or Moscow or Kazan or any of these bigger cities, but outside of that, it's still way back and when kind of attitude there.
Is it hard to evaluate those kids because you don't see them playing in these big tournaments?
No, I don't think so. I think it's good for them. Like I don't. There's not a lot of scouts going over there right now. Yeah. It's there's some hurdles that you have to either understand or know, or get by just to get in the country and get a hotel room and car and everything like that. So if you know all that and you understand that, then that's your first step. But as far as watching the players play, I saw 2 or 3 guys over there that could, like 22, 24 years old right now, that could jump right in the AHL into a top 6.
You want to give their names, and I'll give them to Kyle Davidson.
Yeah. Well, I'll give them to Army's brothers. Yeah. He's working for the Flyers.
Yeah, he's a Flyers guy. So they already got Mitchkov. Yeah. They got those Russian. They got the Russian pipeline guy.
Yeah.
They
got goalies.
Goalies. Simmer has an insatiable appetite for caviar. That's why he always goes.
The black caviar is really good.
Our team I played in Haberos.
And
half the guys on our team, they made their salary by bringing the caviar from there to Moscow on our road road trips.
right?
Yeah. They would bring 2 hockey bags, and one with their equipment, one filled with just the caviar. They're making a few $1,000s a trip on there.
Yeah, that 9-hour flight, eh?
Well, those were rough. And then our team went bankrupt, so then we had to get a smaller plane that had to go up, and then we dropped down in fuel.
Yeah.
That took 2 hours, go up 4 hours again, had to drop down 2 hours fuel, then 3 hours to get to Magnitogorsk, and you walk into that rink and you lose 6-0. They're asking why. Like, well, why do you lose? 9-hour time change and 14 hours on the flight. Yeah. But I'm gonna wrap up the hockey summit there. Yeah. It's been 30 minutes on the hockey summit. I'm gonna wrap it up. Move it over to the Winter
Canada. Breathe.
The Winter Classic talk, and the Winter Classic talk is brought to us today by Duke Cannon. Maybe you've seen Duke Cannon products in Target, Walmart, or your local hardware store. If not, let me introduce you. Duke Cannon makes a variety of men's grooming goods, big ass bricks of soap, thick body wash, beard care stuff, colognes, and hair wash. They also donate money to veterans causes each year through the Duke Cannon Veterans Fund. Simply put, they give a damn, and their products work hard and smell terrific. Most of the year, I'm a sawtooth, thick body wash guy, but when it turns to hockey season, I like their Buffalo Trace soaps and their big ass lump of Cole soap. Shop now at DukeCannon.com, Amazon, in Target, or at Walmart. They're everywhere. Go forth and save up to 20% on the Yuletide soap bundles and gift sets. The products, the packaging, you won't find better gifts for the men this year for Father's Day, birthdays, whatever. If you miss Christmas.
I got it at home.
Like, Duke Cannon, I think I want some after
you get it anywhere.
That was a good plug.
Good plug.
Keep you nice and clean.
Yeah, nice, smelling good.
I know Simmer had good style. Where did you always go shopping at, Simmer? You always loved it. Was it Marshall's?
Yeah, Marshall's.
You would
great deals there.
Oh, this guy, you'd be like, I'm like, check out these new shoes I got, like $10 at Marshall's. And I'm like, really? What are you doing there? He's like, showed me. He just wheels in there. He's like bargain hunting for all this sick stuff and Wilts. Always had the nice style going down there, Simmer.
Yeah, he still thought he was in the NHL, like going to like real cities. Like, Simmer, we're playing Hershey tonight. You don't need to bring the hair gel.
It was
either off the bus.
It was either we were all shopping like Abercrombie or like Hot Topic. He was at Marshall's looking good, fresh and clean. Oh, before we really move on to I want to ask you about, you played in Prince Albert in the Western League back in the day. I look up your teams, Mike Modano. Yeah. Now, I talked to my dad about Mike Modano in junior hockey. I love Mike Modano. He's one of my favorite players. Him, Forsberg, growing up watching. Oddly enough, too, Brian Skrudlin. I was a Habs fan. Yeah. I love Brian Skrudlin. But as I got older, Modano's, my dad said, was the greatest junior hockey player he ever seen with his own eyes. Can you tell me about those years you had with him there and how good he was, American kid, coming up to Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, middle of nowhere?
Yeah, he came out of nowhere, kind of. We went to camp that year, and I was a 17-year-old kid. I didn't know if I was going to make the team or not either. I'd been in New Westminster the year before, and wasn't good enough at 16 to play in the Western Hockey League. But at 17, Rick Wilson was there, and he told me, come to camp. You have an honest camp and do good. You have a chance to make the team, and I did. And Mike was there too. He was about all of 5'10", 155 pounds at the time, and I think I could skate faster than him then, which is
really
kind of scary. Oh man, he was just a little skinny little 16-year-old that had real good, hockey sense and skill. And his first year, it was just like, this guy's going to get killed. Like, and we're lucky we had, those rivals we had against Saskatoon. At the time,
oh my God.
With, Tony Twist and Kelly Chase and Kevin Kaminsky and guys like that.
Where
it was a war every night. So Mike, I think it was the best thing he ever did is play there, because nothing could get any scarier than going into, a night like that where it was like you were going to get hit hard and it was going to hurt, and he adjusted to it. And next year he came back and grew another 3 inches and was, a different player. And he's the best player that I've ever played with by far. Like, other than that Mario, you had a taste with him. He was coming back that year. Mike consistently was just the best player on the ice every night, and his skating was,
like he was like what everyone is today.
Exactly. He's like a Rupee Hintz kind of, what that he could, but better, like much better than Rupee Hintz.
I wish I could have seen him play in junior, from what I hear.
It was hey, play on his line, and that's why I got drafted.
Did he have the jersey flow back then too?
Yeah, he had the jersey flow even back in the day. Like, it was something real special. And I mean, he was the kind of guy that, like, after we got, like my last year I played with him, or his last year, he played on my line, and it was just like we talked about earlier. Like I'm like, Mike, do whatever you want. No one's gonna touch you all night.
Yeah, you're just thrashing.
Anyone touches you, they're going through the boards.
That was the best feeling. I had that one year in San Antonio where I was like the lead guy and I Pete Vandermeer. And nobody touched me. I knew it. It just gave me more confidence. See, in Wilkes-Barre, you were too busy protecting Army, so I had to fend for myself all the time.
He had me.
I played in a charity game last summer with Modano.
Yeah.
He's still so Showtime.
Yeah.
Like he wore his helmet from like 1991 with the North Star logo on there and the jersey flow, the whole thing. And they did the lineups. He was wearing 9, I was wearing 10. He gets this huge pop from the crowd, and then it's like, and Barstool Chief crickets.
That happens to me all the time.
But he was,
you hear these guys get announced, and you're like, oh my god. And then you get on there like, yeah.
Did you get on? Weren't you at Chelly's? Were you at Chelly's thing?
Yeah.
Called out
great.
there.
That was
awesome. You gotta get some good pop for that.
Yeah. That Chelly's one of the best guys ever. I'm lucky that he's been my friend for 25 years. He takes care of me. That's for sure.
We got him on the live show coming up in 2 days. A little promo for that here in Chicago. So it's going to be fun to talk to him. I got to know him really well through you out at the Bruckheimer tournaments. We used to play in those. And Roenick, who actually is going to be a guest too.
Yeah.
We all would go to those things. Army, you showed up there one year even.
Simmer invited me.
Yeah.
Simmer, I didn't even
those
play.
Were good days, eh?
I just had my shoulder surgery. I came rolling in there. That's when I got to see Sheldon Surrey. In real life. I watched him get ready. Remember we went up to his room to hang out with him while he's getting ready. I'm like, what an animal this guy is. It's like the most handsome human I've ever seen. I'm like, most humans can't even wear a shirt like that, but he pulls it off. He looks amazing.
Yeah,
he's a weapon.
He was quite a stud. Eh?
Oh yeah,
he still is.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the Chelio story of him throwing the plates in that one dinner on stage at the live show, but I didn't know if that was going to be offsides or not.
No, I mean he's Greek. He does that all the
time.
Yeah, he does that here still once in a while. Just got to get the okay from the general manager before we start doing that.
All right, let's get on this Winter Classic. Let me set the stage for it here, and then I'm going to pass it around. Maybe go to Chief first. One thing we're looking for from the Blackhawks, and we'll shoot it around the horn. I'm going to give you the outdoor records. The Blues are 2-0 in Winter Classics. The Blackhawks, surprisingly, are 1-5 in outdoor games. 0-4 in Winter Classics, Chief. The Blues won the 23-24 series against the Blackhawks 3-1. So the Blues look like they're going to be the bet. But what are you looking for from the Blackhawks?
I mean, it's all kind of for positive. It's all off the ice. So nobody does pomp and circumstance like the Chicago Blackhawks. Maybe Army now with the crown. But like when you were there for the Chelios night, that was incredible. They did everything perfect. And I went to the Winter Classic in 2009 against the Wings. It was the second ever Winter Classic. It was an amazing show. They lost the game, but it was a great show. Wrigley Field, the whole thing. So I think it'll be a great time. I think that they will probably get smoked because they're just not that good of a team. I love Monty as a coach. It's Anders Sorensen's doing a fine job since he got the job. But I was like, if you were that close to fire in Richardson and Monty was theoretically available, I wish they would have made a run at Monty. So they're a well-organized team. I feel like they got a little bit of a bump since making that change, and I think they'll keep it rolling. So I'm looking for, hopefully Bedard's on the score sheet. We'll get a big pop in the crowd and we'll move it along to 2025.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that for some bets and some props later on after we shoot it around. Armdog, what are you looking for in Chicago?
Well, obviously I've got the crown on now, boys. King of the Winter Classic. It's going to be amazing. Am I nervous? A little bit, yes. There's some guys on each team that I'm not looking forward to. For my record, 21 seconds in, the chat's probably fired up. I got the crown on. I want to say this. Bedard, obviously, worried about her, concerned about him. Snap of a wrist, it could be the record, could be gone. On the Blues side, I mean, you got a few guys down that lineup. Kyrou, speed. He can.
Well, we're gonna get to the Blues next.
Okay, I just wanted to say that though. I'm concerned.
I know Are you the king or the lord, or is it both?
Lord of the Winter, King of the Winter Classic.
Which one do you want to be known as? If we gotta make a graphic or something like this.
I'm the King of the Winter Classic.
King of the Winter Classic. Sponsored by DraftKings.
Brought to you by DraftKings. What a crown! I mean, this
Good
is
crown.
unbelievable. The crown is yours.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's just mine. Thank you.
So it's officially 21 seconds. Once that's in, we'll be able to pop the bottles again.
Pop the bottles. New Year's has arrived. The crown is still mine. I hang on to it. I'll be on the edge of my seat. You never know. You never know what the conditions.
For 22 seconds.
You never know what it'll be. I mean, I got to say this. Watching the Hawks last night, they could barely skate. I mean, are they going to figure it out? Do you think the NHL's like, oh boy, what's going on here? We got we're put on this thing. At least we have Bedard. We can really brand and market. but it's like, well, what do we do? Like they got to figure it out. They have a bounce back.
They probably should have had the Winter Classic really in like 2027. If you wanted a good show. Yeah. So, and they have some young players. Korchinski's up, Nazar's up. He's like electric to watch.
He's good. I like that kid.
Yeah, he's super fast, skilled. He's been better defensively than I probably would have given him credit for.
You know what? He's got a little bit of sneaky toughness to him.
I agree.
He really does. Like he's exactly what we're talking about earlier. Like he doesn't have a problem getting into the tough areas and throwing his body around. And even at his size, he's got a strong base. And if guys do that, man, he'll move up and he'll help this team real quick.
I think they're at like a develop in the NHL a little bit phase. I know they still have lots of guys down in Rockford too. You went to the game last night. What are you seeing? They got guys.
Well, they got
up.
the young Del Mastro kids there. Kaiser was down there. They've got some younger forwards. This Hayes kid, I kind of like him. He's actually playing the kind of role he's going to play up here. He's going to be a third line guy, kind of like Slager is, and guys like that. They're gonna get their 40 points in the American League, but they'll come up here and be third line guys and be effective.
Like they got some huge D too, some young guys that are huge. And even like that Vlasic.
Yeah, well he's up.
Oh yeah, I know Chief loves Vlasic. What are your thoughts?
I like him
too. He's one of my favorite players. He's the best defenseman, young defenseman in the league.
And like I did a game for TNT. I was between the benches. I think he scored his first goal of the year that game, and like he hasn't quite. And this is the development part. Like for how big he is, how well he can skate. I think there's can be a little more nastiness there. He would separate.
It'd be nice.
It'd be nice. He might get there. And also, I think like to stretch his legs offensively. Like I seen they started to use him a little bit on the blue line. He's just a step away or a few steps away from being like able to work the blue line, generate shots, and
he's
just his footwork and stuff. You know what I mean? You watch him. He's kind of raw, young guy, but he's going to be a good player.
They've done a good job developing him. Yeah. They put him. They gave him a year in the minors, make his mistakes, learn the game. Came up, and credit to this kid. Like he came up and kept it simple and didn't make mistakes. And you can see his game starting to expand a little bit now. Like you said, he's still got. I mean, it's tough as a young defenseman. Like it's really hard to become elite when it comes to scoring. And the thing about him is he just shuts plays down all the time. And now he has to add that next little piece to
the
his
next
game.
layer. Yeah,
exactly.
Does he have the chance to be like a Hedman? It's like big guy, offense, defense.
Yes, I see him like that.
So this is the first time ever in his life that he's been running a power play. So he didn't do it at BU. He didn't do it at Rockford. So when Seth Jones went down earlier in the year, they're like, throw him out there. And he
responded well.
And he did.
Like he did. Like honestly, I think his mentality is he's done it perfectly. I want to learn how to play in the league and be a player that's not
be able to play.
Exactly. And then I'll expand from there. And that's what every good young player has to go through, that process of knowing what they're good at, really, stay good at that, and then expand on the rest of your game as you get more chances. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah. And I think it's been fair to say, and this is your team. You love the Hawks, love hate maybe a little bit.
It's been a rough decade now.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years since they won a playoff
series. The glory years were pretty good.
Yeah, the glory years were good.
It was the best.
I wasn't working in NHL hockey at that point, so I got to come to a lot of those games too, and I felt like I was winning cups even.
It was
you and Michael Jordan and all the boys in the suite. You barely watched, but it was good to be there.
It was really fun. I mean, those guys did a lot for this city. That group of guys.
And they played like the most attractive style.
Yeah.
But then they could play any way you want. You want to have a line brawl, like an actual one with Vancouver or whoever.
Yeah.
Taves was fighting Bacchus all the time. It was the best.
Yeah.
The best time.
I give a lot of credit to Joel Quenneville for that.
I love Joel.
The way he coached and the way he made them play or got them to play, or whatever you want to call it. We need more Joel Quennevilles in the league.
I think he's coming back.
Yeah, I was just listening to Andrew Ladd interview on our boys, the Empty Netters podcast. And
I love that Netters.
And that's exactly what Ladd said. He goes, we were sick. We were skilled, and we could try to outscore teams, and we were winning a little bit. He goes, but then when we switched to Quenneville, he knew how to keep us scoring like that, but still be responsible. He goes, that day when he came in, that's when we knew we were winning a cup, basically.
Yeah. And then they also got Marian Hossa playing around Thanksgiving.
Yeah. They got him after he lost 2 cup finals in a row. So you got him like third time's a charm. Yeah.
I think
it was going to really sting if you didn't.
Yeah, I know. So I got to ask you too about the team now. Also, is just like I feel like before the break with the firing of the coach, like they started to score some goals. They started to kind of feel good last game, not so much. That's an awful feeling coming off having Christmas legs like that. But things started trending in the right direction. Like we're not going to see what we saw the other night, right?
No, I think they were losing a lot of games 2-1.
Yeah,
and they were playing that 1-2-2. Now they're doing like an actual forecheck instead of the traps. They're playing on the front foot. They're playing more aggressive. You can see guys like Teravainen and Bertuzzi starting to come alive. So I think they'll be like a competent team that loses 4-3, instead of which for me is fine. I just want to see development of the young guys, and I'll continue to eat shit as a fan for another year or so. But just get the young guys going, get the guys who are signed here playing well, liking it, having a good experience here, and then hopefully more like Oliver Moore's in the World Juniors. And like get more of these guys coming in, and hopefully in 2027 they're good.
Is that the kid on USA?
Yeah,
really fast,
super fast, Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then they got Sam Renzel from Minnesota too, which he looks pretty special.
So on Tuesday here at the Winter Classic, we're basically on prospect watch on the Blackhawks. I'm excited to see this Vlasic live in person, even though it's a different game.
Merle. He's huge.
To your point about the nastiness, I wish someone just be like, "Hey, dude, you're 6'6".
Yeah,
I think you'll develop that. I've seen a little bit of it. Like it's like I said, it's tough coming in. Obviously, it's tough to have that mentality, and I think young kids sometimes are scared to come in, and they're playing against their idols kind of, and they're kind of scared to give them a cross check here and there. But once you get used to it, and you're like, hey, this guy's another guy. It's either he scores on me or I take over here. So I think you'll get a little bit of that.
Yeah, I think that young guy thing is a good point. There was when the Hawks played Detroit like a month or so ago. Yeah, Connor Bedard was mic'd up for the game.
Yeah,
and they had this clip where Kane went down, drew a penalty on Bedard. Bedard's like bullshit about it.
Yeah,
and he's skating right next to Kane. He doesn't say anything. Kane peels off, goes to the bench. He whips around to go to the penalty box, and he's like going to the ref. Tell him to stay on his fucking feet.
I saw it.
It's like. Just say it right to Kaner. Just say it right there. Get in his ear. Like that's like I would love to see like that little bit of
that'll come with him.
I
too.
hope so. I hope
he's a pretty confident kid. So it'll just takes time. He's 19 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, my kid's 24. I still think he's like 12.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that these kids are so mature at their age and they can handle this kind of stuff.
How old's your kid?
24, man.
Jesus.
Remember when he was rolling? Jack?
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Shout out
you were the only
Jack.
guy. You were the only guy in the team with a kid. I think.
God, what happened to me that year?
Jeez, now you're 24.
You were like my dad when I was playing with you.
I'll never forget. I tell this story all the time. I don't even know if I should be telling it on here, but we would go to that Olive Garden for lunch every time. And I was sitting there and I told you my life plan. I'm like, Simmer, this is how it's going to work. I was so smart. I thought 22 years old, 23. I'm like, I'm going to get married at 28, my first kid at 30. I'll be done playing by, 32. I'm going to retire. And he's like, no, you're not. He goes, you're not going to do any of that. He goes, you're going to just keep playing hockey. He goes, you're never going to get married. You're not going to have kids till a lot later on. And it's worked out. You were right. I didn't get married till I was 40 and had my kid.
Vice turn out?
Yeah, it worked out right. Some of these mornings, it's a little rough when I'm 45 years old and I'm up at 4 a.m. chasing around a kid. It's a little rough.
Yeah.
So I listened to you, but I probably listened to you too much on that one.
Simmer, you had to rub my back at a little steakhouse. What was it?
Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse, very classy establishment.
Throw peanuts on the floor.
Yeah. That was when I went in. Remember you and I were having meetings all the time. Tarian meeting. And I remember I walked in and Simmer sitting there, and with Chris Beach, and stick up for yourself, like two pretty confident guys. And I was just like young little guy, and I wheel in there and I stuck up for myself. I came out. I was crying. Simmer had to take me to.
Is that when he cleared the desk, right?
Yeah,
and he's like, "You challenging me?"
Yeah. You want to know my record is 1-on-1?
100%.
I came out of the meeting though. He's like, "How did it go?" I was like, "You told me to stick up for him." You're like, "Come with me, buddy." He takes me to Texas Roadhouse. We sit at the bar, eat like a T-bone steak. There's peanuts all over the floor. I'm eating. He's rubbing my back.
Simmer was the best because he didn't give a shit. He was on a one-way contract, played his years, and he would call him Michael. He would always call him Michael. Hey, Michael, we doing this drill? Hey, Michael, we don't want to skate today.
He would drop the drill, and all of us were too scared to say anything. And Simmer would be in the back standing, "Hey, Michael, so you were telling me you want F2 to go?" He only got to talk to him. Great advice on that one, by the way.
Yeah.
Great advice, buddy.
I'm glad he didn't call me in and do that. Might have been a different story.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. All right. Well, you did play for the Blackhawks and the Blues. So let's flip it over to the Blues. Blues are 2-0, like I said, in Winter Classics. They beat the Blackhawks in 2017. They beat the Wild in 2022. My first Chiclets Winter Classic. It was the coldest game ever. My favorite story is we were outside and they had the big tall boy beers.
Yeah.
I took a sip of mine, watch a little bit of the game, and I drink fast. I think you guys all know that by now.
Slushy?
Yeah. By the time I came back, it was slushy.
Yeah.
That's how cold out it was at that game. But they got it done. I think they're going to get it done again. Let's start with you this time first, Simmer. What are you looking for in the Blues?
I think the Blues are in that kind of transition. I think where they're gonna retool on the fly. They've made a few little changes with getting Fowler in there, and they've still got a good core group of older guys. If they can get their younger guys, I think, to kind of be superstars, the guys they're paying big money,
like Kyrou and Thomas and those guys.
I mean, Thomas has made some breakthroughs, but Kyrou to me has just been like, he's not. If I can be real, critical, he hasn't been able to like elevate his game to superstar status on a consistent level, and that hurts, man. When you have a guy that's paying $7.5-8 million a year to be a superstar and he's not, I mean, you can't go out and get another one. Mm-hmm. And Army's the kind of guy that's gonna, he's gonna go get players if he needs them, and if they're close to being a playoff team, he's gonna want to get the right players to at least make a run or win a round or two if he can.
And have you noticed, Merles, you're a big Monty guy, right? Have you noticed there's obviously an uptick in their game right now? Like there's a little more consistency in their game with the way they're playing. You would say 100%?
Yeah, they definitely came out right away. They got the coach's bump. They got the reaction, and it's. I think they know this is not the year, but Monty, they've had Monty. I mean, I don't know nothing, but I mean, I'm pretty sure this was set up. And you saw there was no panic in Monty in Boston when he's on that bench when all the shit was hitting the fan. I was like, wow, he doesn't really look too scared.
He was kind of like, remember, he was giving it to Marchand, he was giving it to Pasternak. It was kind of a media thing, and it was kind of like, wow, he's giving it to a star player. So there was a little bit of like desperation in him to get his boys going.
He was very confident.
You have to, like, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Just sit and watch your superstars not perform the way that they're supposed to? And I know some guys are aging in this and that, but when the effort's not there and you're not seeing that, I can understand why coaches pull their hair out and want to
I'd be
some point you got to say something.
Yeah.
What do? You just watch it.
And there's nothing else to do. You can't trade anybody anymore because there's no trade clauses and blah, 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 and all of that. Monty's been great for them. And I think he is going to get Kyrou going. Yeah. I think he's a coach that can maybe get through to him. He did great things with Pasta. I think he's going to use that with Kyrou. Be like, this is what I told Pasta to do. This is how you got to play and stuff like that.
But as it stands right now, they just don't have like any game breaking stars. They just have like a lot of pretty good guys, which is why they're sixth in the division.
I agree.
So,
I agree. Buchnevich on the top line.
Yep.
Holloway, who they picked up. Kyrou's down there with Schenner, who's slowed down a little bit.
But he still battles.
He's a battler. Yeah, you need a guy like him.
He's an old Hockey Canada guy.
Saskatoon. He's a Saskatoon guy. Yeah,
Jake Neighbors is good. Yep. This guy, is it Bolduc?
Bolduc.
He's a sniper. If they can get him going consistently.
He's slowed down a little bit too. I always love Parayko. Parayko to me is like a defenseman you made in a lab. Like
big, Drago. He's like Drago.
They forgot to put the mean into him though.
Well,
that's the one thing about him. Like they have the tools and the players to play at the level that we're talking about. Because I mean, if Colton Parayko decides to go out there and be physical at any given point, he's going to kill someone.
I feel like he used to be when he first came in the league.
It was sporadic as far as I'm concerned. Like
that,
it was good when he needed it to be, but like he's
a super. Have you met him? He's like the nicest kid ever.
Like he's like someone's got to tell him that you don't have to be nice.
When you put your hockey helmet on, you're an asshole.
Exactly. I mean, you got to have that personality switch.
Well, he's big. He's rangy. Of course, like Hockey Canada, he's right there. Bomb shot. Yeah. I mean, they're built. The way they're built is like pretty consistent lineup from top to bottom. Like, but they need the wow factor a little, right?
They need that.
Pop. They don't have their Tarasenko anymore. Like they game need breaker. That real star.
Yeah, and I think they're hoping they can get Kyrou to do that. I know, like Alex Steen, part of the reason he's in there already is because he's a conduit between the management to the players the players respect him so much, and he still understands what it's like to be like that, and he can maybe get through to them to get them. Like a guy like Kyrou, I feel like got to be consistent. He takes nights off and he takes shifts off.
Like it's you can't be a superstar player if you take shifts off. Like, I mean, you're not gonna produce every night. Like, there's no doubt about that. But you have to put yourself in an opportunity chance to do that. And he just doesn't move his feet enough. He doesn't play like he's getting tired out there. And I mean, you got to come off the ice and you got to be tired. I'm not saying that superstar players, they understand the game a little bit better and everything like that, but like you got to put the effort in or else it's not going to happen.
And then you flip it over and you watch last night Celebrini, who just like spun off a guy, dove, tipped the puck, and then got it back, and then he gets to the net. Like, it's just
that's the mentality. That's the mentality that's infectious. And if your superstars don't have it, then it's not going to bleed down to the rest of the guys. And you can push all you want as a fourth, third line guy, but those guys have to be
they set the tone
all night, every night.
Dude, like, he's a winner. Like, you can already tell, like, Celebrini, like he will have the Sharks going.
Yeah.
Let's put a bow on the Winter Classic here and go around, and we'll give some picks and some props. This is a gambling show. It started as one. That was great hockey talk. We've kind of morphed into everything. I'm going to give you guys a couple things before I get to your picks. The weather is always important in the Winter Classics. Right now, cloudy, bit of snow, maybe some rain.
Yep.
So I don't know if there's going to be a delay or anything like that. If you're thinking over under, if there's going to be bad ice, good ice, I guess. Right now, I saw over under was 5.5. I saw St. Louis money line a week ago, -130 with the Hawks +110. I think that's going to be a big difference now after last night's games. St. Louis big win. Hawks looked horrendous.
They got one more before the game too. They got Dallas tomorrow.
Tomorrow night.
That's the only team they just beat them, didn't they? Or was that Nashville that beat them?
No, they beat Dallas down there,
right?
Maybe a month ago.
Yeah. That's some stuff for you there. Let's start with you, Chief. You're a gambler. Let's go. Let's get something going. I'm a gambler,
but I am like pretty close to suspending myself for a little bit. It's been a rough football season for your boy. Like, the Bears, this will be the week they turn it around. This is like, I'm gonna go anytime goal scorer. I don't trust the Hawks at all. Nazar is kind of a showtime guy. This is a big stage. Plays hard, like you're saying. He's got that speed, and I think that this is like a moment for him. So I'm sure he'll have pretty good value. I didn't see it listed on the book yet. But I like Nazar anytime. I'm sure it'll be like +200 or more, and I feel like that's something worth a little sprinkle.
Yeah, at least. And then I've been getting a couple of these like bonuses where you can get the boost bonuses. I hit one last night. I had 100% boost on Mikko Rantanen. I put Mikko Rantanen anytime. He got the empty netter. I was so jet lagged last night. I'm half falling asleep in bed, one eye. Is that Rantanen? I had to put my glasses back on. That was sick. Got it. But those are nice on DraftKings. This isn't even because of the ad. Like, that's a real thing. So
it's just great.
So I think if you get Nazar and if you get any sort of bonus into your email, you're going to do nice on that one.
I would take, you want me to go on one? I would take Blues first period. What is that? Like what's that one we always do?
The first period three-way?
Lead after,
three-way, yep.
Like first period Blues, first period three-way, and I would pick that Holloway as well as to get a point or anytime goal. I feel like he's hot. He's on that line with Kyrou and Shen too. And he's a guy that kind of plays 200 feet, gets to hard areas, has speed, a little bit of grit to his game, gets in those areas. I think he's been real hot for them lately too. As of late, at least anyways, 5 points in his last 5 games or something like that right now. So a guy to watch for, but both teams, I think Chicago's penalty kill is like third.
It's pretty good.
Since the Swede took over.
And the power play has been better this year too.
But I think the Blues special teams is brutal. So if Monty can improve on that would give them a huge boost. Special teams league, especially regular season. But I would take Holloway for something as well. I don't know if I'd go anything for the Hawks.
No. What do you think, Simmer? You're probably not allowed to say.
I'm not allowed to bet.
You're not allowed to bet, but if
I'm not allowed to bet, am I allowed to give?
But if you want to,
I don't know. I better not. Well, let's be safe. I don't want
generic.
Simmer's out. No Simmer, but I will tell you something I am going to do because of Simmer, and we've been chirping Kyrou. We're down on him a little bit, so I'm definitely taking Kyrou anytime goal, and then
that works every time.
And I'm definitely on the Blues. I'm going to wait for the lines to come out. Hopefully, I can get the three-way, maybe +100 or something like that. I'm going to be all over the Blues. I ride with Monty and Steen. Jake Neighbors is a guy I love taking. I've shied away from the shots on goal bets lately because you can't count on them picking. But I'm here last night, and my guy's Lehkonen. And I'm back in the U.S. He gets the hat trick. So the 3 shots on goal, there was no fighting
goals.
that.
Yeah.
So I would have finally won.
Yeah.
But being live at the game, shots on goal is so fun. It
It's
makes
the
the game.
best.
It'll make you snap even more if they mess it up. Like I think last night in that Buffalo-Chicago game, Chicago didn't have a shot forever. Then there was 1 shot on goal, I noticed, and then it went back to 0 somehow. And I noticed that too doing games.
Yeah.
They take shots away at the end of every period. Like it ends like 12-10 shots and it's like 9-8.
Yeah.
So they're sticklers about these shots now, Merle. So I can see where your head's wrapped in a pretzel, bud.
Yeah, that's where my bets will be. I will also, during the live show tomorrow, one of my plans for it is to try to get a bet going, like you, Biz and Whit and you guys and the audience, to try to make a nice little parlay and then get that put up on the DraftKings app. So look forward to seeing that up there. Game time, 4 p.m. Chicago, 5 p.m. in New York. That makes it 11 p.m. in Sweden. Biz is on there, TNT, and that's going to segue us right over. We do a little segment called Chiclets Chirps on here.
Yeah.
We get to make fun of our bosses, Biz and Whit, and their show. So, they just dropped the new episode.
Great episode.
Yeah, at 500 guests. I think that was a podcast world record on there. Thankfully, I had an 8-hour flight to listen to the whole thing, but amazing episode. Great guests. They're killing it. What do you got on them, Army?
Oh, I mean, it's I don't know what it is with Sean Avery, but he's like, I could listen to him, like his takes and everything. He's like highly entertaining to me. Like I never know how he's going to say it, but like I never know what he's going to say, but the way he says it too is like so uniquely him as well.
Yeah.
The state of the Rangers, obviously, and his takes on that. I loved listening to it. I loved it on there. I loved how Biz was so. He asked the questions, right? Like he doesn't go away. Like, you meating with Dolan? Are you doing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. I think all that stuff's for like our private chat, and then he just airs it all out there.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any run-ins with Aves?
Oh yeah. He's actually a good guy. He's the most cynical person that you're ever going to meet, and the whole world is going to collapse around him. But he's a great guy, and he. Did you see his bit with the bicycle lanes in
oh my god
in New York there?
Relentless.
He latches onto something and he goes full force. But he's I like watching him too. He's got the pointer out now and trying to like go over every play.
I think there was a moment back in like 2016 where he almost signed with us. With Barstool.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was going to do we had a serious show, and it just never quite came together. But like he and Dave were the morning show. Yeah, like they were in talks.
Wow.
It was gonna be Avery and like Large and Willie Colon.
Because he had like an aura about him of like meta world peace or whatever. He had kind of that like obviously like that bad boy, but you never know what's going to happen. But just out there a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a chance to meet him at the Stanley Cup final in Vegas as well. Spent some time hanging out with him, and real nice guy, huge jiu-jitsu guy too.
Yeah, if there's ever something interesting to do, he'll figure out. Involved in it.
Great takes on there, though. That was a good part.
Yeah, and also on
Whit pops off too.
Yeah,
his TikTok's great.
Whit has an incredible story from his travel out here. I'm not allowed to tell it. He's going to either tell it at the live show or the next episode. So just tease the people for that. You definitely want to hear that story. It's ridiculous. Wyatt Whitney slashing video in the youth hockey.
A little more breaking news here, guys.
What a show. What a show.
Washington coach Spencer Carberry says the Russian machine Alex Ovechkin will return tonight.
Wow.
How many away is he now?
Check the bets. Check the bets on Washington.
Okay.
Am I off on that? Chad will help us out.
Oh, coming back at the Leafs. Washington at the Leafs. Biz is not.
So
like
no
to
Matthews.
Hear that.
Yeah, no Matthews.
Yeah.
He's out still. I think he's still out tonight.
Chiclets Chirps. It can go into my video. Ovechkin's learning from my skating stride. I don't know if we have that.
Do we have that? Can we pull that up?
I saw that, Merle.
Did you see that one? I was lumbering.
I was actually.
I know. I said that.
Impressed with your skate.
The white stance.
It's
It's a bandy rink, which is bigger than like a football field, and it also has a 400-meter track
like
around.
skating oval.
Yeah. So I played just to pick up shinny with the boys over there, and then I was like, I need to get a sweat going. I'm going over to Chicago for a week of Pink Whitney and deep dish pizza. So I was doing the laps, and we played the game. I did a lap. We played a few more games, and that was my last lap. So
it looked like your legs were burning.
But I mean, I am completely out of shape. But It was really funny how that was all put together. And I don't know, Army, were you behind that?
Yeah, I saw the video and I was like, oh my God, look at this lumbering stride. This reminds me of when Ovi came back and Minzees put something together with that video and said whose stride is better.
I had to take a second look. Yours is pretty good.
Yeah, still got it, huh?
The form is good, man.
Yeah.
Like
That's from a
skating
scout.
mechanics.
Tell Jonesy.
Skating
Yeah,
mechanics
yeah.
are pretty good there.
I could play like one shift now. Like I could do one
That's
shift.
my first 10 seconds of shift. I'm all in.
Simmer's like, hey, Jonesy, like Riles, like Danny, sit down in Philly meetings. He's like, I found our new skating coach. Here he is right here.
Matt Murley.
We're going to get him to straighten out Mitch Cobb, lengthen his stride. Here's a video of him. Now, Merles, do your pitch.
Yeah.
And all right. Time to move on. We're gonna move on to show and Minzees.
What about Witt's kids slashing the?
Yeah, I brought that up, but the breaking news kind of.
Oh, breaking news! Do we have that video, by the way? Can we show that, Pasha? Pasha's manning.
Okay, here it is.
Here it is.
Just
Look
put
at
Team
this.
Canada needs.
Bam, bam. The guy's like, "Hey, you can't do that. That is unreal."
You also can't teach that though.
No, you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. So-
That's Witt's little guy.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Just
absolute
stomping in
menace.
the
He's a menace off the ice, and now Witt's got him on the ice, and he's even a bigger menace since he got the Leafs jersey and everything.
That's how the Kachuks were back in the day. In St.
Yeah.
Louis. Yeah. They'd come in the dressing room and you literally beat the crap out of each other at 2 and 3 years old, and just like no wonder they are what
Yeah,
they
no,
are.
no surprise. You see
No,
them how
I
they
know,
are
yeah.
now.
I know, it's unreal.
We got to move on. Show and Minzees. My voice is getting a little dry, so I need my body armor. This is
Nice.
brought to you by Body Armor. The whole episode, Body Armor sports drink, real hydration, real ingredients, packed with electrolytes, vitamins, and nothing artificial. Body Armor is the official sports drink of the NHL, and we'll be checking out the Discover NHL Winter Classic on December 31st in Chicago, including the Body Armor bus takeover and hockey activation at the Winter Classic pregame. This sounds incredible. Body Armor sports drink has great tasting flavors like strawberry banana and orange mango. I got the big bottle here, and Witt stole this from me. I always have to listen to this. This goes right back to Chiclets Chirps. He stole my thing. I'm the one that told him the key is the wide mouth.
Yeah.
When you're
Need it.
either you're hungover or you
Yes.
just got done a long shift on the ice or a workout,
lumbering.
you need the wide mouth bottle. It's amazing. It feels clean. It looks good. Body Armor. Get yours today at Walmart, any local grocery store. The boys grabbed a ton last night. We had a nice little team dinner, get things going for the weekend. Every guy went in, grabbed some Body Armor, brought it up to the room. So thank you, Body Armor.
Thank you, Body Armor. I love it. And we're going to do show Minzees. You want to explain to the guys the segment before Pasha rolls our intro clip for it? It's something happening. It doesn't have to be hockey related. That is really good. You'd send it to the show, and something kind of negative, you'd send it to the Minzees. You want me to go first as an example?
Yeah, this would be good.
So I'd send Latvia to the show. I mean, they've never, as much as I railed on Team Canada for the shootout loss. Okay, bounce back, boys. We got this. They've never beaten Canada at a World Junior tournament. I feel like they've always been a team that's kind of played they have to play shutdown. They have to just lock it in. The shots were crazy. Their goaltender played out of his mind. Send that goalie to the show automatically and send them to the show for that shootout win. Seeing them celebrate like they couldn't believe it. Like that was their World Junior Championship right there. Amazing to see a country like that probably has, I don't know how many rinks in that country comparatively to Canada, and for them to be able to pop on a big stage in the main rink in Ottawa with house full of Canadian fans, totally sold out, and to be able to pull off that win, that show. Congratulations, Latvia.
Well,
I can give
bump.
it to you.
They got a bump, I think, 2 years ago when they got a medal at the World Championships, and I was actually there and watching, and honestly, it was some of the most inspirational hockey I've ever seen a team play for their country. And I mean, there was Latvian fans everywhere, and they were crying. Like literally.
Remember the parade? They threw a parade for that medal.
I went to that, and I'm like, this is nuts. Like, and the whole all of Riga was like they took a day off because of that.
It was scenes last night.
It was unbelievable.
It was a scene last night in Riga. Like after the win, they were like, which I think was probably early in the morning there, but they were going bananas. And do you want to read that? They have 22 rinks in Latvia.
20 rinks. All right.
Whole country,
that's like a suburb of Toronto.
22
rinks.
Yeah.
Holy God! Plus population.
Yeah, they got an outdoor one though too. They got one outdoor.
Yeah, one outdoor.
Yeah, one outdoor ring.
Wow, good job, Latvia. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's nice to see.
Was Teddy's Nolans coaching the team? Teddy's Nolans,
Smoking Knowles.
Yeah, what a beauty.
No, it was Abels, I think, is their coach. He was a KHL coach there for a long time. They had the KHL team forever. It was a good spot for imports to go play. And then that got your foot in with the bigger teams. My friend Matt Robinson, he went there first. Yeah. They're only paying like $400,000 or $500,000, but you do well there. And then all of a sudden Moscow wants you for $3-4 million.
Still the same way there. Yeah. It's the haves and the have nots. But if you want to go over there and play, make like $200,000-$300,000 your first year, like, and if you're not going to be in,
what's a good stat? What's a good stat line of a player to produce and like be like able to play there to make like $5, $4, $3 million? Let's just say.
I don't know if there's many guys
20 goals
doing that. Yeah, a point a game you'll make.
Point a game
you'll make $1 million.
Yeah,
okay. And that's like right in your genes, so you're not paying taxes on that.
Bonuses, the bonus structures are ridiculous.
The ruble's so weak right now that it's really hard to, it's 5 times less than it was like 10 years ago. So.
When you were getting
they still have the team in China too.
Yeah, they're moving back.
But they play in Moscow.
They're going to move back, I guess, next year.
Right,
they're going to put a team in China again, and then they're going to put a team in the Matishi and where
that's where I played at World Championships.
Atlanta.
It's like a whole brand new area, soccer stadium, condo buildings everywhere, beautiful, nice big rink. That's where we won gold there at Worlds. Nice little area.
Yeah, that was pretty good little.
Yeah, that city.
Oh no, Matichi. That's a shitty little rink that we played at. That's outside.
You were probably at the Seska Arena.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Ooh, that rink.
Some of those rinks are unbelievable.
Matichi. That's where we started.
Ska's rink is the second biggest in the world now, or something like 22,000 people or something.
It's the top seats are like literally they have to have rails in front of you so you don't fall off the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, this is what we like about showing Minzees. It is one thing, but boom, it leads us in 100 different directions that we might not have gotten to. But Chief, you were prepared, I think. What do you got for us? Who are you calling up to the show?
I'm calling up the BC boys. So Team USA. I'm excited to watch that game today. I have to readjust my TV package again to get NHL Network. It's been a struggle, but I'm excited to watch that line. That line, like we were talking about, like the hockey intelligence. Those guys know how to play, and they play off each other, and it's been fun to watch. So I'll take those guys for USA at the show at the top line.
Simmer, you got the gist of this little game here? You got anything to call up to the show?
You got to give me a minute here.
All right, I got one more. I can do mine. I love Torts when he does these media. I'm calling his latest one up. When today, Cutter Gauthier going back there. So I asked about that. It's circled on the calendar. I don't give a shit what he says. I'm not interested in answering any questions about Cutter Gauthier. Why don't you ask me about my Christmas? It was lovely. My wife got me a new scarf. Like, that's just hilarious. That's awesome. Call Torts up for that. And hey, that's Philadelphia Flyers. So perfect segue over to Reid Simpson's show. Like game notes is called. You could call us up.
Which I think would be cool is an event like this in your city. You live here in Chicago, and yes, Chelly, and yes, JR will be kicking around, and yes, all these guys. It's probably pretty cool for you to see a lot of the boys.
We're doing an alumni event.
Give that
on
a shot.
30th.
There you go.
And Gretz is going to be there. Chelly, Savard, John Hamm is doing doing kind of the hot stove kind of questioning and stuff like that. So it's going to be a big event over at the House of Blues at 8:00 on the 30th. So hopefully you guys can get over there too. I think Biz and Whit might stop in. They got a lot of the Hawks guys
giving us the invite. Can I say I know you?
You're in, yeah.
All right.
It's like the Bruckheimer.
Right,
you're on the list.
Yeah. Right up to the VIP.
And I imagine. Hey, quick update.
They'll have the Stanley Cup there too.
Our boy Chaser, he'd probably love to be a part of that. But
well, he actually helped a lot.
Yeah.
Like, as far as organizing this, doesn't look like he's going to get up here. He's still in the hospital right now, but he's fighting everything
he's the best.
Getting thrown at him. So he's gonna thoroughly be disappointed he didn't make it to this thing because he put a lot of effort into organizing it. So
he's amazing at organizing stuff like that. Puts some corn in some of the guys' alumni's jeans too, doing different events.
Yeah,
I think he's been called to the show by you before.
Yeah, I called him to the show. He's the best. He's a great host too. He can run a show like no other. He's hilarious. So get better, buddy. We're thinking of you, obviously, especially over holidays as well. Minzees, you aren't ready for my Minzees?
Yeah, let's go.
This is the second time this year, and maybe the second time in a month. I'm sending myself to the Minzees again. I'm on a fucking roll. I'm going back to the Minzees. I can't believe I'm doing this. I packed up to come out here, and I forgot my toiletry kit. like the toiletry kit, like the one thing that you need, like
thing that has
everything you need, like razor, deodorant, toothbrush, everything. I had to buy some stuff at 7-Eleven last night. Brutal. But like you forget that, like your belt, your phone charger. Merle makes a good point. You can get away with it. You'll buy another one. I know, but it's
They're
like
everywhere.
it's just a pain in the ass. And I was on the flight and I was like, did I forget my toiletry? I'm going over inventory. And that's the biggest rookie move. And I sent it to the group chat, and you and Whit and like everyone else, like Minzees.
Yeah.
Like that shows you're the Minzees, because if you're in the show, like that's how you travel in the show, because you have your suit, and all you used to do is just bring your medical bag. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I remember Bugsy Malone. We talked about it all the time. We just put the toothbrush in.
Yeah.
You probably had some guys like that.
Well, that was Keith Jones.
3
Said it in
days.
his book. He just had a toothbrush.
All
In there.
you
That was it. Yeah.
If you're on fire, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Chief, Minzees. Besides the entire city of Chicago sports.
Yeah. Me. I'm miserable. It's me. I'm doing it myself too. I was gonna go skiing. I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm not gonna go to the Winter Classic. Then I get told that, if Notre Dame wins, I'm a Notre Dame fan, we're gonna stream on New Year's Day. So then I was like, oh shit, now I gotta stay. So now I had tickets offered by a couple people and then DraftKings. And I'm like, I'm good. I don't need them. Now I got to go buy myself.
You can't get
No, I just got to go through Game Time and get them myself. So, but I had free tickets and I messed it up. So now I got to pay out the nose.
While we're on it, I'll put myself into Minzees.
Oh, that's tough goals.
I had a different one, but I got to go with the theme here. So I get on the plane and I'm booking my flight, and I see this seat. It's on a window. There's nothing in the middle, and then there's an aisle seat. And it's got extra leg room. I'm like, oh, what a genius. This is my seat. Book it. Like, done. Like, I got the best seat on the plane. So I get on there. No, there is no separation. It's right next to a guy. So there's 2 seats, but they're right next to each other. And then I got this big flat screen TV. Oh, no kids on this flight, 8-hour flight.
Ooh.
Oh, I can't wait. Sit here, watch a few movies, eat some chips. I brought a big bag of salt and vinegar chips. This is going to be the time of my life. Hammering the thing, TV doesn't work. TV doesn't work. So I go and I make a picture, tweet it, like, oh, I'm fucked for 8 hours. Minzees. The reason that TV doesn't work, I'm right behind the business class or the SA. A big curtain gets shut right in front of me, right over my screen. So I have no TV. So I'm sitting there. I finally, I think it was like an hour into it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I need something to do. And the waitress or the steward person, I don't even know what you got to say these days. It was one of those flip ones that come out from underneath. So Minzees I am the most experienced traveler in the company for sure. And if not in the world, the amount of flights I do to Sweden, I got to know that. Put me in the Minzees for not knowing that and then tweeting about it and making people feel bad for me when it wasn't that bad.
That was a great picture, though. The picture's awesome because it's his screen's black and then all the rest of the screens are all lit up. The picture. You got anything?
I know. I never want to go back to the minors.
Yeah. Don't send yourself there.
Yeah.
You know it's bad when you got to send yourself.
One more year back there. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, that's good. What do we got? We got 11-17. Let's just do some picks for today and Sunday. Huge game at 12 o'clock, Florida. I'm looking at that game. I'll get into reasons for that in a little bit, but I want to go over to Chief first. Saturday. Any games jumping out on you that we can talk about?
I'm pulling it up right now.
All right, I can give my picks then.
All
right,
yours,
I'll give you know me, Army. I always go for the early game, especially when I'm in Europe. Montreal at Florida. -1.5, -125, just horrible odds. But I caught a little scoop online, and what's this kid's name? Jacob Dobis. Jacob Dobis going to make his NHL debut for Montreal against Florida.
Ohio State guy.
I just don't like. I don't like that. Like, that's the game you're going to give your goalie the first game at Florida. Like, isn't that rough? So
he's shell shocked.
Yeah, so if they come out like they can at home, I see that getting ugly real quick. So Florida -1.5, -125. Next one up, Edmonton at LA. Biz constantly reminding the world that I called LA frauds, but this is why they are, because Edmonton or Vegas will beat them in the playoffs. I'm on Edmonton money line -130, and another little nugget for you on that game. It's the mother's trip. Oilers' mom's trip. They're going to produce. They're ready to play for the moms. Not like being with the dad's trip where they're all getting belligerent. The mom's trip got them home, get them in curfew, no swimming in the pool. You remember how your mom was in hockey, Simmer?
Yeah.
My mom just kicked me out of the house at 7 a.m. and said, "Don't come back."
Simmer, actually, if you're getting bets ready, Simmer told me a great story when he was in Flin Flon coming up, and he was like 14, 15 years old, and he got called up to like the Bombers team, like the junior B team, and he got like what's this story? You got like a huge. You were a killer when you were like 15, fighting like 20-year-olds and stuff.
Guys with beards.
Yeah, but like the coach, didn't you have the coach? Wasn't he in the room? Like,
yeah. We got beat the hell out of in Weyburn, and our coach didn't, instead of actually responding to it, and he ended up starting crying. So I knew his days were over.
But you're like,
I'm like, why are you crying? I'm the one that got my ass beat. Like,
he's 15,
like 20-year-olds.
Wait,
6 times. Yeah. I was like, I'm high-fiving my friends and got lumps all over, and our coach is in the corner crying.
Yeah, I got some good Simmer stories I'm going to close up with. I mean, this guy was he was completely out of control. You probably played up near these places in juniors, Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So I'm on Winnipeg money line -155.
Ooh.
Ottawa is hot.
They're hot.
Both goalies are injured. Both goalies are out. So that's all I'm looking there. You're the Jets guy. I got my Jets pullover I've been running in the gym with. Shout out to me there. Pump my tires a little bit. This morning I'm on the treadmill, my Jets, and it came to me. I'm like, I got to take the Jets today. And the last one, Army, you're going to love it. Pittsburgh +120. We were talking at dinner last night how Carlson has completely turned his game around
right now.
Sid is this might be Sid's, what do they say? Like his masterpiece. If he can somehow get this team into the playoffs, and if they're in the playoffs, you don't want to see Crosby in the playoffs. So this is a big game. Islanders, they got him in a home and home.
Yep.
And I'm going to pick them to sweep the weekend. So that's it for me today.
Wow. Pens fans are going to love that. G, quick question. I see Columbus, Boston again.
Let me give you a fun stat on Columbus, Boston today. So I've told you guys before about my family, my brother and his kids. My brother goes over to those games. He's been there for the last 25 years. He's only seen them lose one game. He's probably been 18 games. And the one game he saw them lose was to Columbus in the playoffs. So he's like, I don't know if I want to put my streak on the line, but he's going. And another little nugget, it's Ray Bork's birthday. Bruins can't lose at home on Ray Bork's birthday.
Can't lose. Me and Jans were talking about it last night, just with the coming off the break, the travel to Columbus. It was a layup for the Blue Jackets. I think the Bruins smoke them tonight.
I do too.
They ruined our parlay last night. So that usually happens too. The next game they win.
Exactly.
So
Pasta
watch that.
Anytime goal scorer too. We love
Mike
that.
Hogan in the chat says Bruins are pathetic. Oh my God, I love it.
The Bruins apparently.
Love you, chat. Love you, chat. Doesn't love the Bruins. I would pick an anytime goal scorer in Florida. Can I do that?
Yeah. Love it.
I obviously go Reinhardt. I don't know what the odds are.
I'll look it up for you while Chief's digging around.
Maybe go 2 points.
I'm ready to go.
Maybe go 2 points.
Reinhardt anytime +110.
I don't even like that.
But like I said, you get those boosts. You look on your account, you probably got a little 50%, 100% boost in there.
I'm not turning my nose up at +110.
You're not?
No.
To score a goal, I just feel like it should be like higher, but Reinhardt's
got this rookie Ohio State goalie. He's going to light him up.
Yeah. What do you got, Chief?
I got a parlay. I got Winnipeg money line. I'm with G. I like the Bruins money line. And then I'm going to throw the Canucks at home against the Kraken. The Kraken can't get out of first gear. Canucks aren't great either, but they need it. I feel like they need to. What?
I'm gonna let they're missing everybody.
Who's out?
Last night at dinner, somebody I think said Hughes and Pedersen might both be out.
All right, I'm removing that one.
Yes, I was gonna save everybody on that one. Chat real quick. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's what our Vancouver insider told us last night at dinner.
All right. Well, then it's just those two. Winnipeg and Boston are both money line. So if you parlay them together, it's not updating that for me.
In the chat, NP88, Winnipeg, Tampa, -1.5 parlay. You know I love that. You know I love that. I love those plays.
Yeah, I mean, this day I am so like I mean, it's great to be in Chicago. The game start earlier, but I'm just so happy to be in the U.S. Look at this, 12 o'clock. That's why I'm trying to speed this thing along. Sorry if I've shut you guys off, but I gotta go. I gotta gamble.
You got games to watch.
Simmer's like, I gotta be scouting. I said I'm supposed to be on a flight scouting those games.
The 3 o'clock, I'll tell you, Edmonton, LA. I can't wait. I need Edmonton to win so we can just rub it into business face. We're gonna pass Simmer on that. Is that enough for Saturday? Is that enough action? The boys, the producers in the back.
That's the weekend.
Devils don't play, so we don't have to hear from Pasha. Do they play today? Where are they at? Oh, there they are. Devils at Carolina. Anything from the cheap seats, Pasha, I can relay to the show?
They smoked them last night. Didn't they play them?
Yeah, they smoked the Canes last night 4-2. They're an absolute wagon right now. Devils are a lock tonight, money line, and I would say Luke Hughes.
Oh, no disclaimer.
Warning: the following statements are about to be made by a deranged Devils fan. The views expressed are his and his only. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt because, remember, he is a deranged Devils fan.
Okay, you can proceed.
May I speak now?
Yeah. Devils money line plus 114.
Yep, parlayed with a Luke Hughes anytime point.
Oh, I like that.
What does that pay? We have it.
Luke Hughes or Jack Hughes? Did you say?
Luke.
Wow.
I'm trying to look for him.
He's been hot.
I met Luke Hughes the other day. My favorite Hughes. I made that
it's plus 155 just to get a point. I don't know if it's going to let me do this real quick.
I saw a great interview of Luke and Jack Hughes with like a little girl, like a little
plus 300. That bet. I don't hate that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I like that.
Amazing.
Are we going to be on that at the DraftKings Sportsbook at Wrigleyville? Like you can bet cash there too, right?
They got the kiosk.
You get the betting slip like the old days.
Yep.
I love that.
Amazing. Good job, Posh. He's always going under the hood. That's why he comes up with good things. Stay tuned for that new segment we're working on, Under the Hood with Pasha Eshke.
Simmer, would you ever thought I would have got into Would you ever thought I would have got into a gambling show after seeing me run all those NFL pools in Wilkes-Barre and everything?
I mean, the first thing you did is go to Mohegan Sun when you
Oh yeah. Have we ever talked about those stories? The Mohegan Sun, Simmer. Yeah. Oh man. I forgot you were my running man that Michael Jordan Steakhouse, and then we roped Army into it.
Simmer, remember we go down to Atlantic City too. I remember I was with Simmer at the tables down there. We're playing blackjack. Simmer's like, me and him are the same. We're like, stack them.
Army'd get the fives and he'd stack them as high as he could.
Yeah, but I'd just be like, now I'm feeling it, and I'd stack them. Yeah. And Simmer would be like, stack them. And then I'd win. And then Simmer's like, you're done, kid. You leave the table. They hate guys like you. They hate guys
he was
like
a coach.
He was a coach.
Yeah.
He was our dad.
Yeah.
And then him and I, he like helped me. He's like, hey, I'll quit too. We went outside. We're walking down the boardwalk in Atlantic City. We were there for like another 4 hours. We played for 5 minutes. We won, and he made us all quit. Legend. Hate guys like us, Simmer. Stack them.
Yeah, you're a true veteran. That's we were so lucky to have guys like you around us when we were playing like that. I'm just afraid there's not veterans like you. They're like we're running out of guys like that in the league that are just cagey veterans on and off the ice.
I think I loved about Simmer too is we'd be at like one of those hibachi places in Wilkes-Barre, and then we'd all be like hanging out, having a good time, all young guys, and Simmer's hanging out with us, and then Simmer would be like, "Oh, I got to take this call," and he'd run out. He had the wires with the earpieces, and then he'd be in the lobby. He'd be holding the microphone thing off the thing. He'd be like, "Yeah." So anyway, he's yelling, talking so loud in the whole restaurant. He was always on that thing. He was always on the headphone.
It's like our dads now. Like my dad's yelling into the phone. Like, Dad, you don't need to yell into the phone.
We had some good times. I remember the one time when the playoffs when I went, we had a late night swim, and I thought I was going to boing off of the lawn chair, and it got caught around my ankles.
Yeah, we're at Eastmount Apartments. We broke into the outdoor pool area in the playoffs. Simmer goes to boing off the chair. No, but it's like those rubber straps.
The strips.
Yeah, the old.
The seat went through.
It got around my ankles.
Went directly into the pavement.
Yeah, they were
bleeding.
They were so sore I couldn't put my skates on the next day. Just blood coming off my toes. My socks were all red at the end.
Simmer goes, I thought I was gonna.
Jeez, maybe we shouldn't have veterans like you around.
He goes, I thought I was gonna boing. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Locks on the doors. We hopped the fences into this pool. He goes for a boing off the chair. Holy God, your toes were leaking.
Oh God! All right, let's bring it back in and wrap this thing up. We got to wrap this thing up. Sunday, we got a ton of games again tomorrow, day games, and I really wanted to make sure we did this because first game up is Buffalo at St. Louis. Obviously, Winter Classic preview. I got to be on the Blues, but I like the Sabres. I'm just going to do the over here. I'm going to go over 5.5 or 6. I'm not sure if the line's officially out yet, but both teams scored yesterday. Both teams 6. It's 6. So I don't see any problem getting over 6 with those teams. Again, I talked about the Oilers on the Mother's trip. 3-way at Anaheim. Anaheim is just trash. Again, Pittsburgh money line. They're going to sweep the weekend and really get in this playoff hunt. And then I always take Vegas, Army. I took them last night. Vegas. I got them 18-1 to win the cup. Vegas 3-way at home. This team is awesome. Those are my 4 picks.
As of last night, Vegas, the number 1 team in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
I
saw them on the 23rd. They look good.
Yeah. They're a wagon, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep. Chief,
job,
what do you
Mark.
got for us? Anything Sunday?
Yeah, I'll take Minnesota at home. Ottawa second half of back-to-back. I think Minnesota's awesome too. So
Kaprizov didn't play yesterday.
I don't even care.
You don't even care. Yeah,
Don't care.
I'm surprised they pulled that game off yesterday down there.
Yeah, they're a pretty good team.
What
right
about
now.
what Dallas at Hawks? Warm up to the Winter Classic game. Nothing. Stay away.
What's the Dallas team total? 3.5. I'll go over on that.
Over on that.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Because they'll probably play the backup and save Mrazek for the Classic.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking
Soderblom's
there?
been better this year too. I don't know what they'll probably play Mrazek.
Did I see he was hurt or something? Soderblom.
Well, he was hurt, but then they had Comesso up, but he's played.
Comesso, yeah.
Yeah.
He started off great that game, Comesso, and then
they
got
lost
to him.
what 4-0.
They won 5-0 last night in Rockford.
Did he?
Okay.
Messo kid, yeah.
Good.
He's developing.
Yeah, you like him?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Are you afraid to say guys you like? Are you trying to work deals here? Because maybe you say something bad about him. Oh, I like him, but you really don't.
just got
and
his
then the
ear
guys
to
you
the
don't
ground.
like because you're going to try to snake him in a trade or
I'd
something.
love to, but I mean, good example. I told last year I was talking to Luke Richardson, and I'm like, I really like that Blasky. Obviously, if you like him, they must love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the team that owns a player probably knows more about him than you do, but it's really hard to get those young guys that are going to be superstars in trade. And if they've already become what you think they're maybe going to be, it's almost impossible to get them.
I think that's going to end up being the best contract in the league.
Yeah.
They signed him, I think it was
a nice deal. Yeah.
like 4.25
Yeah.
or something like that. So when the cap goes up and he's in his
Yeah.
prime making,
we actually don't want to, in my opinion, you don't want to give those first year, those first contract guys 6-7 year deals right out of their entry level contract. It's too.
I think
too
on
risky,
both sides.
Yeah,
I think on both. If I'm a
it's too
player,
risky,
I'm like, what if
yeah,
I'm good? I could
yeah,
get more.
Exactly.
And then the team too.
That bridge deal, for 2 to 4 years, is a really good deal for both parties if they can get it.
you don't see it. I mean, Matthews did it.
Yeah.
But everyone else kind of signs the max term.
I think it's kind of risky, right? Now he's got the injury.
Yeah.
You never know what could happen. And then you sign those big, long ones. You got the
It's hard
security.
it's hard to live up to the hype too.
Yeah.
Really
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Anybody else you like down there in Rockford?
Oh yeah. He wants the full scouting thing.
Uh-oh.
They
No,
Don't give away all your
really,
away all your tricks.
No, I really like that Nazar kid. I
Okay.
right from the get-go, he played in that rookie tournament in St. Louis, and he got blown up in mid-ice by an older kid. And what I really liked about him, he came out the next shift and just lambasted the same guy that went after him. And to me, that character is huge.
Yeah.
To know that, hey, I'm not you're going to take me out, but I'm coming right after you.
For a smaller skilled guy too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's, like I said, he's really competitive. I'll take high compete over almost anything.
Yeah, that's Benny Barr I talked to. He's main coach, and he's always
Yeah.
talking about compete and everything. And speaking of college, I got to shout out G and our guy Fish here behind the camera. Chiclets, Michigan State. This was one of my favorite ones. This was ridiculous. They're talking about having 2 meals provided every day. They had 2 different cold tubs. This was just ridiculous. And I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but when you have probably the greatest college coach in any sport, Tom Izzo, showing up and chirping you, that's pretty good, G.
Yeah, Izzo, there was 3 or 4 chirps too that we couldn't even put in there that he was just going at me. He's a hilarious guy, but basically right when he walked in the room was just what are you doing here? You don't belong with these guys. You're definitely not the hockey player. So it was funny, but awesome facilities. I thought the hydrotherapy room was crazy. They did dry needling on my knee for the first time. So I tore my meniscus a couple weeks back. So they did dry needling. It was incredible. But yeah, like they're getting steaks twice a day, lasagnas, chicken parms. The food is incredible.
I was wondering about that. I saw those big ribeyes come out. Now, is that every day or because they knew Chiclets was there?
Every single day. The amount of money. And
what was the upgrade? What was it again?
26.2 million was the renovation. And the crazy part was that when Red was like, yeah, we have 6 to 7 people at all times making sure we're fed. So they have nutritionists, they have the people cooking the food. It's insane.
It's insane what the way that the all leagues have gone, even the minor league, rinks and the services they give their players. It's off the charts.
They're not putting the money in the cup for soggy subs anymore.
No, you're not getting your soggy jumping off the bus at the end.
Yeah.
Rolling into a bar, getting some subs.
Yeah, Binghamton chicken wings in a little styrofoam.
Remember Shakey's in Hershey? It was the worst food. I stopped ordering completely because it was so bad.
He was our
I'm
goalie.
like, I'll be home in an hour and a half.
He was our goalie. Shaky the goalie was. That's why they call it that. He was our goalie when I first played there. Yeah.
He was always hungover and had the shakes, right?
Yes. One time he passed out in the net. He literally passed out in the net. Was yelling for 7-Up from his net, like in the middle of the game.
Yes. So that's what I wanted.
In the crease while the play's going on, yelling 7-Up.
I wanted to bring up because that's where I started following you. I was a small kid and you were playing for the Albany Riverettes. For some reason, I always assumed that was your first spot, but you were in Hershey before that.
Yeah, I got to Hershey and then I went a little bit in Kalamazoo when I signed with North Stars. So I spent a year there and then luckily I got traded to New Jersey and that's when all those cups started rolling in and we won the Calder Cup and then the Stanley Cups.
So my brother was the stick boy for the Calder Cup team on that Albany team. Yeah. And if I'm correct, you guys won the Calder Cup, but then did the Devils win the cup the same year?
Yeah, we got called up.
Were you guys you went down?
I had played during the season because it was a lockout year. So as soon as the lockout came, I got called up. I played my 9 games and they had to send me down and I went down and we won. And because the lockout was, so long, the Stanley Cup ended up, going till almost June. So we got called up for the second 2 rounds and got to play, got to practice with the team the whole time. And it was you're 25 years old and you're winning Calder Cup and Stanley Cup in the same year. It was a pretty cool time.
Yeah,
and those guys were great.
That was 95.
95. Yeah.
Okay.
What were some of your stats too? Like I think you told me a crazy stat. Was it when you went back to junior from pro?
Yeah.
You were up and you had like.
Oh yeah, they sent me back from Hershey the 1 year.
But didn't you have like 30 fights and
you
went back to junior and you had like 30 pro fights in like 10 games. What was the stat?
No, it was like 30 and 30, I think, at the time. And they're like, Reid, we're gonna send you back to junior.
That's like more impressive than the DiMaggio history.
You're fighting too much. I think I led the American Hockey League in penalty minutes till like February, and I left in December. It was but it was literally like, all right, go out there.
You're an animal.
Come back, go out there, fight another guy.
Who's the toughest guy you fought, even in those minor league days, even to the NHL time? Because there's some guys down there that are.
In the minors, there was this kid, Babcock. He played in Baltimore, and I mean. He was one guy for some reason I just couldn't figure out. And I finally did. And we used to just one fight we get in, I'd buckle him. And then we'd go back the next fight and boom, he'd buckle me. And I'm like, Jesus, where did that come from? But we just kept going at it. I think that's why I racked up 30 that year because we played Baltimore like 16 times when I was in Hershey. So he was like that. But there was, you get to the NHL and guys like Ty Domi and McSorley and Proby and Kosher. And it's like every night there's just another beating waiting to happen. If you're not
Did you ever have like I got to fight this guy?
Not really. No,
this guy's a lunatic.
That was one thing I was lucky at. It never bothered me. I remember I'd go to the rink and warm up would start and you'd start to get into that feel of whatever it is and you come back after, relax, and then when you go on the ice it's like turning a light switch on. You're gonna do it. I mean, I got used to it in junior playing Tony Twist and Kelly Chase every night and Jim McKenzie and just name the guys. So when you get to pro, you're kind of like those are the guys you're going against too. So I never let it bother me. I slept like a baby.
I never sensed like you were too worried about it. You were always ready for it.
Yeah. It's just like if I mean, why? For me, it was why get worried about it? It's going to happen. And if you want to, if you want to succeed in your job, you gotta go out there and just do the best you can.
Simmer slung them too. Like, oh my God.
I think that's probably would help you. Western League were the toughest guys. Not like a guy like me came out of Toronto Metro Junior in college.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you see
RPI
these
guys.
animals. You're like, Jesus, who are these people?
Merle's is like the toughest thing I've seen is this math equation at RPI. Am I right?
The bouncer at the Ruck.
Yeah.
No, it was a big part of the game back then, and I had no problem doing it.
Do you wish it was more of a part of the game today?
I like the game the way it is now.
Okay.
I really do. I like it's fast, it's skilled, it's I wish that more guys would hit. I wish like whatever the rules are, like at least when I played, it was like, how can we get away with just a little bit more than that, And that's where the compete, I think, came into it. So nowadays, I like I said, I have no understanding of why guys don't go out. You see guys that are 6'2" that can skate, that are 215 pounds, that skate all the way across the ice to check a guy, and as soon as he passes it, they just kind of
you're not. I know. There's so many times I'm like, you could have crushed that guy, and they never do.
What would like one more step and you'd be in the NHL? You know what I mean? And you'd be in the NHL and you'd be making, instead of being a $1 million player, you'd be like a $4 million player. And I just don't understand why guys don't want to take that next level and put it into their game. Yeah. Because it would be all the difference in the world. If you want to win, you got to play that way. Yeah. We all see how it's played in the playoffs, and guys are given everything. Most guys have to play that way all year round if they want to have a good job.
So don't take it from me. Take it from the scout. There it is. Good.
That's director of
scouting.
Remember you came across the middle at one time and blew me up on my own team. I think I was out for 10 games.
I was a
brick I still have.
You couldn't. Oh yeah, Simmer had this rib. He's like, oh, every time he'd laugh, he's like, he loved laughing. Simmer's the guy that loves laughing, but he had that bad rib, the cartilage. And he had a lump there. He had like, it's never healing. It doesn't heal. Get out of the tracks when you're out there with Army, though.
Yeah, why we have this? What did you call it? The summit? Why we have this hockey summit here? Big problems in Barstool and gambling. Mr. Ice can't get a win because the goals seem to have been dropped. Haven't checked the stats. We would need Jazz to know. But is there something you're noticing maybe from the last couple of years to this year where guys are maybe playing more defensively? Like you just said, they got to play hard all year, like the playoffs. Is there something that stands out to any of you guys of why Mr. Ice can't get a win?
Yeah, like the overs, right?
The overs.
Yeah. I know.
Usually used to be like, I don't bet. I mean, I never been good at it. I probably couldn't tell you who's going to win, everything like that. Someone told me a stat one time that the overs in the first half of the year hit like way more often. I don't know what percentage it is, but they're not hitting right now, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I've been to some games where it's 0-0 after the second period, and you're like, is anyone going to score tonight?
Yeah, that wasn't happening the last 3 years. All of a sudden this year, something changed. I had one theory. I'm like, maybe all the guys have all gotten paid now. Like everybody's got an 8x8 now. So let's play some real hockey, and they see Florida, Vegas winning, and you got to play defensive. You got to play tight. I don't know. I haven't.
This is a weird year too, with guys having tough starts too. Like, I think Biz said it on, I think it was on TNT. Maybe it was one of his stints on Hockey Night in Canada though. And we have it on the group chat here and there, but it was like a weird start to the year. It's kind of like oddly boring start to the year with like, there wasn't like pop, like no one was like taking off with it. It was kind of slow pacing start. Kaprizov, obviously, he was ripping right out of the gates, but it was kind of like slow. Some guys were marred in long game slumps that usually can put up like 30 goals and close to 90 points. So maybe it'll start turning around the second half, Merles. Maybe it will with our hockey summit and everything.
And like Colorado's starting to get going now too. Like they started slow. So I don't know. Maybe some of these teams would just click in after the new year. But it was like kind of the defensive teams. Like
how many overs yesterday?
Some goals.
Sloppy, ugly Christmas leg hockey, man.
Yeah, let's look for that again. Maybe some teams that are coming back from that too. I didn't know if teams started to figure out this new power play. Every power play is the 1-3-1 now. I didn't know if teams were figuring out. I didn't do any under the hood stats on that. If that's changed.
Well, there's no surprises anymore. I mean, the amount of video that goes into like figuring out what the other team's doing is off the charts. I mean, even in Philly, we have 4 or 5 guys that are completely manning the videos all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was Avery on Chiclets. He's like, these assistants got no time for coaching.
Yeah.
All they're doing is videoing.
All right.
Yeah, is that it? We had enough of the hockey summit. Yeah, the game's starting 17 minutes. Thank you to the chat. Sorry we didn't get to write to you guys as much as we normally. We got 2 great guests here. Thank you, Singsy, Libby, all the usuals, JC. Shout out to our great sponsors, DraftKings, Duke Cannon, Body Armor. Thank you to Chief. Check him out, Barstool Chicago, Dog Walk, Pitch Picks. Is that right? With Nicky Smokes.
Yeah,
I like watching that.
Really good crew for that.
You know, I'm a soccer guy. Simmer, of course, director of scouting. Like now he's big time. This guy was a veteran for me in Army.
He's dialed.
He's the man.
Simmer, great seeing you too, buddy. It's been a long time, I
know.
feel.
I'm gonna drop in a little bit more.
Maybe you can drop in tomorrow. Ronik Chelio's coming to our live show. Is there still tickets available or it's sold out? It might be completely sold out. We can get you a ticket. If you get me to that VIP party, I'll get you to the live show.
Sure.
It's up at the Riv, right? The Riv, yeah.
What time's that at? 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, 4 p.m. live. You're in Chicago. Come check us out. You can still make it to the Blackhawks game after, or you can go to the DraftKings Sportsbook and gamble on the Blackhawks game, whatever you want. Before the Winter Classic, Pink Whitney Party. These are always the best events of the trip. Go there, meet the fans, drink way too much Pink Whitney, get a buzz on before the game, talk to everybody, talk about picks, talk about anytime goal scorers. Once again, Chiclets University, Michigan State. Check that out. Fish behind the camera. Just going through it, just getting beaten on by everybody in that. The basketball coach chirping them, the trainer sticking needles in them. Awesome episode. Michigan State, #1 team in the country still, I believe. And their goalies away at World Juniors. Great World Junior talk. Game notes next Friday probably. We'll probably return to our normal time at 12 Eastern if everything goes according to plan. Thank you to everybody. Army, any final thoughts as the King? Did we decide the king of the Winter Classic?
21 seconds, folks. Stay tuned for all our content this weekend here at the Winter Classic. Thanks for the hospitality. Awesome. Hope we'll see you a bunch this weekend, Chief. And Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to everyone in the chat. We love you guys. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for tuning in on a Saturday, and we switch it up all here together. Simmer, Happy New Year, buddy.
Thanks,
love
man.
Like the video, subscribe, download, all that other professional stuff. Chief, you've been in this business longer.
Plug it. Yeah. Like and subscribe. It helps the channel. Clicks the algorithm. You need all that shit.
We need the algorithm pumping.
Thank you.